Shalom, shalom. I do want to start off this another lesson by saying all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH for giving me the opportunity to do this lesson. I do want to give double honor to the elders and Apostle GREATMILLSTONE for teaching the truth by using precept upon precepts and line upon line. This lesson I do want to get into today is about the situation about Trump sending 2,000 soldiers. My last video I was talking about how it was a distraction and you shouldn't go too deep to it because something else is actually happening in the Middle East and in Russia front. But I do want to talk about of how the 2,000 the troops do look like what Jacob Trouble. It is very symbolic to what's going to happen in Jacob Trouble when people start protesting, when people start getting out of order because people don't trust Trump anymore. They're gonna go berserk. That Trump is gonna relinquish martial law. He's gonna bring down, full total control. All right, and prophecy talks about that in Jacob Trouble. So I did want to talk about it. Let's play the video first so you can see the idea of how it looks. You can see how the troops, how soldiers got guns. You see the cars with military weapons. That's what's about to come to pass very soon in Jacob Trouble. And you will know when you're in Jacob Trouble. You don't need somebody to tell you when you're in Jacob Trouble, because Jacob Trouble is death after death after death. It's basically people killing one another, being put to death by other things like animals, or being put to death by viruses that's now suddenly out of nowhere coming to appear, and people is getting to death to famine. You will know when you're in Jacob Trouble. It's gonna be so bad to the point where people's gonna be talking about the prophets. To be honest with you, they're gonna start talking about the prophets, because the only people that have been talking about Jacob Trouble and talking about all these things are the Great Millstone, and men of the Lord like-minded to Great Millstone. So the people's gonna start talking about prophets. You're gonna start talking about all these things. Even it actually goes into another prophecy of how you prophets out there, you about to get fame. You're gonna be famous among these people. Because you've been talking about great things. But let me stop getting out of topic. But the whole point of me making this video is to show off how this is literally just like Jacob Trouble, but it's gonna be more extreme because there's gonna be more troops in America, more lockdown, more. It's gonna be just like what happened in C-19 or 2019. Of how he had when they had a mandatory date of where you come inside. You're supposed to be outside. You have to go home in a certain time. It's the same thing's gonna happen when all hell break loose. All right. So let's play the video, like I said, and I want to get to this prophecy of Jacob Trouble right here, and in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. So let's play.
Photos of Marines preparing to deploy to the city. Officials said some 700 Marines based in Southern California were expected to reach Los Angeles Monday night or Tuesday morning. Their deployment marks another escalation in President Donald Trump's actions towards the demonstrations, which erupted last Friday. This video from Monday shows police as they began to disperse hundreds of demonstrators who gathered outside a federal detention center in downtown Los Angeles, where immigrants have been held. Meanwhile, National Guard forces formed a human barricade to keep people out of the building. Those National Guard troops were part of a contingent of 2,000 deployed by Trump to the city on Saturday. On Monday, the Pentagon confirmed that the contingent would be doubled to 4,000. California Governor Gavin Newsom said in the Monday post on X, his state was suing the Trump administration to block deployment of the National Guard and the Marines, arguing that it violates federal law and state sovereignty. Trump, in turn, said he supported a suggestion by his border czar Tom Homan that Newsom should be arrested over possible obstruction of his administration's immigration enforcement measures. A U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity said that for now, the Trump administration was not invoking the Insurrection Act. The 1807 law would allow troops to directly participate in civilian law enforcement. It was last invoked in 1992 by President George H.W. Bush in response to the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles. Even without invoking the Insurrection Act, Trump can deploy Marines under certain conditions of law or under his authority as Commander-in-Chief.
Damn. So Trump could, what the video say, Trump could actually deploy Marines or enforcements under certain circumstances because he's a Commander-in-Chief. And that's basically what they talks about in Jacob Trouble, of how cities will be in lockdown. Cities will be basically, you want to be able to go to one city, another city, because everything's in lockdown. You can't go nowhere. Or you go to the store that's nearby you. You know, you could go probably walk around your neighborhood, but you can't go too far, and you can't go to what's it called? You couldn't go to others. You couldn't go to another city because it's in lockdown. Just like you're seeing what's happening to Los Angeles, it's gonna happen very soon to other different states too. There's other, like I said, when Trump brings out rules and regulation where people don't like, even the RFID chip, the mark of the beast thing, people's gonna go berserk. People's gonna start rioting. People's not gonna take that. Or even when they see that their economy crashes, if the economy crash, they're going insane. You know, they're all gonna go insane. So let's get the scripture, 2nd Ezra 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and it is drawing nigh as we speak. And one shall stand and fight up a Salakia. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And what's a modern day sword? The gun. All right, people's gonna start fighting one another because of political reasons, religion reasons, or race reasons. Therefore, just basically be killing one another 24/7. Verse 16, in different places. Some states might not go through this, but other states, some states will. And most likely, the most populated area is going to be the most likely the one that's going to suffer the worst of Jacob trouble. If your population is like, it's not that much and you're in the suburbs, most likely you won't be affected that much. Most likely, the only thing you will be affected is mostly by martial law, You basically use common sense. You know what the prophecies are really going to be applied for. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. Sedition mean that they're going to be rioting against their political opponent. Not like a civil war where they just automatically just, go away from them. But it's like they're preaching that they should go against the political party. That's basically what they're saying. There shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's basically what's happening in the riots. In riots, their actions is of course in their power, in their own weapon. They rob stores, they rob houses, they go crazy. They broke people's cars just so they could protest. Alright? Imagine when they don't have no money, and imagine when Trump comes down and says you gotta take a chip. They're gonna go berserk, They're definitely not going to care about what Trump says anymore in those days. They're just going to do what they want to do. And that's when what? Trump's going to come down with what? With full force, with troops to basically hold them down. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Why? Because they're in lockdown, martial law. All right. Now, obviously, I don't know if Los Angeles is in martial law. I don't think they're in martial law. I think it's just it's just there to control the riot and control the chaos. But the fact that Trump sent that much troops down there to control chaos shows you the mentality of what he will do if people do get out of hand. He will and release martial law. He will use his power to make sure that people don't go get out of order. And prophecy does say that what a man shall desire to go in the city and shall not be able to. Mean that what a man won't be able to move out of places. Why? Because they will be under a strict rule. Verse 18, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the house shall be destroyed, and a man shall be afraid. So let's read that again. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Okay, this notification is getting on my nerves. 2nd Ezra 15, verse 18. Man, what's going on? What's going on? This is Satan, man. Like, there's no way I'm getting so many distractions like this. But 2nd Ezra 15, verse 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the house shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. All right. And why a man gonna be afraid? Because people is being chaotic. It's gonna be a scary time to go in the street, because if you do go in the street and people is protesting, people is doing crazy stuff, you might get robbed, you might get shanked, you might get shot, you might get raped. That's why it's gonna be in trouble. People's gonna be scared. All right, cities will be in trouble because people are rioting, people's doing crazy stuff. Jacob trouble for you. All right, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with a sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulations. All right, and we do have a situation in America where the resources that you're getting from other nations, like avocado, food supplies, is gonna get short day by day. So when riot happens, people's gonna realize that, and they're just gonna start robbing other people's houses. You know, they're gonna get their guns and they're gonna rob you. They're gonna take you, ravish you, everything. All right, and what's gonna happen to control that? What Trump's gonna do? He's gonna put out martial law. He's gonna put out troops. Let's put that as a click.
The military forces riots in Los Angeles, even without.
He's gonna put troops like this to in the cities, and they're gonna be more suited up too, because Trump is the type of guy that don't play. He's a prideful individual. He don't play like that. Or he's a guy where a prideful individual. If you don't like listening to him, he will lash out to you. All right. Last video I said he has a mentality. If you can't have it, then no. If I can't have it, then nobody can. That's the mentality he has. So if you're not gonna listen to me, then so be it. You don't deserve to live. He will kill you. All right. So these troops, right now it seems light, but when Jacob trouble happens, it's gonna be worse. Basically, the 2,000 troop situation that happened in Los Angeles is a precursor of what's going to come. It's a what was it? What is that word when you see something in a story and it's like a so-so tell of what's gonna come in the future storytelling? It's a foreshadowing. It's a foreshadowing. Yes, that word, foreshadowing. All right, let me see if I can go to the internet real quick. Let me do this real quick. No ads. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Because I want to go to the internet without showing my information. I'll put a pause real quick. All right, I'm unpausing this. Foreshadowing.
Foreshadow.
Or foreshadow. Or be a warning or an indication of a future event. All right, beautiful. All right, what does foreshadowing means? Be a warning or indication of a future event of what's going to come. And this is a prophecy. Prophecy is what? Something to tell you something that's going to happen in the future, basically. You can literally search for the word prophecy. A prediction. All right. Let's get something similarly. Foretelling the future, forecasting the future, fortune telling. All right, prediction is not prediction. This is a true fact. YAHAWASHI is not a liar. This prediction is a if. This prophecy is not an if. It is going to come to pass. To be honest with you, it's what's happening right now. Everything that the scripture talked about is happening as we speak. The cruel Lord is in action, and everybody's gonna realize that he is the cruel Lord. A divination, full definition, obviously. Our practice is seeking knowledge of the future on the unknown by supernatural means. It's not a practice. It's literally what we know. This is what Yahawah said according to the scriptures through the Spirit. But that's all. You get the point. But that's basically what's gonna come to pass. That troops that's down there is a foreshadow of what's going to come. I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH for giving me the opportunity to do this lesson. I do want to give double honor to the elders and apostle GREATMILLSTONE for teaching the truth by using precept upon precepts and line upon line. Shalom.